Over the past few weeks, my life has been consumed by one of the most painful emotional storms I've ever faced. I discovered that my ex-girlfriend, someone I deeply cared for and imagined a future with, had been engaging in a flirtatious, sexual relationship with one of the managers at the restaurant where she worked. This wasn't innocent banter. We're talking explicit messages exchanged during their shifts, graphic conversations happening while customers sat just feet away, sexual compliments, private photos shared back and forth, and even discussions about meeting up after closing time. All of it unfolding right behind my back. The first time I confronted her, she brushed it off like it was nothing serious. I asked her, firmly, to cut all contact with him and delete his number. She said she would. She seemed sorry. She told me she still cared about me. I wanted to trust her words. I really tried. But something deep in my gut wouldn't let it go. So the next day, I looked at her phone again. And there it was. Less than 24 hours after her promise, she was right back in his messages, laughing, flirting, acting like our conversation had never happened. What made it even worse was how she talked about me to him. In her texts, catching her was funny, even hilarious. She told him she'd message him again when we're done, as if our relationship was already over in her mind and I was just too slow to realize it. It felt like being betrayed twice, once by her actions and again by her complete lack of respect. I'm not usually the type to seek revenge, but something inside me broke. I felt humiliated, played, and invisible. So I took screenshots and posted them to her social media accounts. I still had access at the time. Then I sent everything directly to the guy she'd been texting, to her direct supervisor at work, and even to her mother. The irony wasn't lost on me. I had just spent that same week helping her mom move furniture into a new apartment while my girlfriend was busy sending explicit texts to another man. The guy replied almost immediately. Her boss and her mother didn't. Eventually, my ex called me. She apologized, but it felt rehearsed and far too late. I told her what I'd done. At that moment, I didn't feel any guilt. Days went by, and I started to see the fallout. I noticed her boss had opened the message, no reply, but she had definitely seen it. Part of me hoped there would finally be consequences, but nothing changed. My ex kept her job. She even tried to downplay the situation online, acting like the posts didn't matter. Then she messaged me again, this time mocking me. She said only someone like me would care enough to expose the truth. The conversation devolved into an ugly back and forth of insults, and that's when I realized I had become someone I didn't recognize anymore. Bitter, angry, obsessed with revenge. That was my breaking point. I cut all contact and decided I needed professional help. The whole situation had turned me into a version of myself I despised. I even tried reaching out to the restaurant owner, hoping he might take the issue seriously. He dismissed it, saying he couldn't act on anything that happened outside of work, even though the screenshots clearly showed the messaging during their shifts. Technically, he could have fired her. It's an at-will employment state. But he didn't want the drama. So now she's still there, going to work every day, pretending nothing happened. But every manager in that building knows what she did. The discomfort alone is probably punishment enough. The final piece of the puzzle came when I contacted the mother of the guy's child, the man my ex had been involved with. She told me she'd suspected something for over a year. They weren't together anymore, but she knew my ex personally, and apparently my ex had always been cold toward her, treating her like she was beneath her. It turned out he had cheated on this woman before with another coworker at the same restaurant while their son was still a toddler. The cruel irony, my ex used to complain all the time about how much she feared becoming a single mother. She hated her own father for cheating on her mom while she was pregnant with her. Yet here she was, willingly playing the role of the other woman in someone else's fractured family. Everything about this situation felt twisted. Everything hurt more than I ever expected. And now, after all the chaos, the revenge, and the regret, I'm left with one undeniable truth. She never truly valued me. She never really wanted me. And now I have to rebuild whatever's left of myself after all of this.